Hi guys, welcome back. My name is Mila, and if you're new here, this is mylatriesit, where I try a bunch of different fragrances, ranging from Middle Eastern to niche to designer. So today I'm going to be talking about my favorite seasons, fall and winter, and what perfumes I'm going to be wearing. I have a few that are Middle Eastern, a few that are designer, and a few that are niche. I'll probably start out with my Middle Eastern ones. For starters, we have Arabiyat Prestige Nyla Vani-elle in this gold bottle. I've talked about this hundreds of times. I'm obsessed with this fragrance. My sister-in-law smelled it and now she bought a bottle as well. Oh man, I love this fragrance. So I just bought a bottle for my best friend because she loved it as well. And this one is just such a rich, luxurious gourmand. Of course, you can wear any fragrance any time of year, but fall and winter is where gourmand fragrances shine. It is my favorite scent profile for the most part. Probably not going to go super in depth with all the notes since I have talked about a few of these fragrances before, but this one is a beauty, particularly shines in the cold season. It is just so luxurious and rich and creamy and smooth. Oh, it's such a good fragrance. And this is also in no particular order. The other Middle Eastern fragrance is Empire Victor by Khadlaj. And these two are incredibly similar fragrances. They're both gourmands, but Empire Victor is more of like a rich lemon cookie dessert, whereas Arabiyat Prestige is more of like a caramel swirl, but they're both very rich gourmands. So moving on to designer, we have YSL Libre, Vanille Couture. I'm already starting to put a dent in my bottle. I'm tempted to get a backup bottle during the Sephora sale just because this is limited edition. I hope it's not limited edition and they just are like doing the typical limited edition thing where they're just testing it out, and if it's really popular, they'll keep it permanently. I really hope that's the case because if I'm being honest, this bottle is probably going to be done by New Year's. So I hope this is permanent. And I don't even own any of the Libre fragrances. They smell good and fine and whatever. But this one, when I smelled it in stores, it was just so luxurious and the exact scent profile that I love. And the plus is my husband really likes it on me as well. But to go over the notes, we have vanilla bourbon, orange blossom, lavender, vanilla caviar, and rum. Just shows one line of notes, not necessarily top, middle, and base. Out of all these fragrances, these are probably the most similar. They're not dupes for each other by any means, but they're both very rich gourmands. This leans more caramel, whereas this is heavily more vanilla. But if you like one, you'll probably like the other. Yeah, I can easily have both of them in my collection and use both of them. But I'm a gourmand lover, so for that reason, they're not redundant for me, but some people might not need both. This is Orebella Nightcap by Bella Hadid. It is a biphase perfume, and you can even see the oil layer here. So in order to use it, you actually have to shake it. And this fragrance is one that you can rub since it is a biphase. And the only reason I even bought this fragrance was because I went to Sephora and I sprayed myself all over with the Valentino Born in Roma Ivory fragrance. That one's also limited edition. I liked it a lot, ended up ordering it on the spot. And then for some reason, like by the end of the night, the scent was really irritating me. And this has happened to me multiple times. I should have waited. It's my own fault. By the end of the night, I just felt super irritated by the perfume. So when it arrived, I didn't even open it. I just returned it. And I was at Ulta and I just went around and smelled the fragrances. I had heard about these, but hadn't smelled them before. And this one's one of the newer release ones for fall since it is a gourmand. Top notes are ginger, cardamom, gaiac wood. Middle notes, vanilla, labdanum. Base notes, sandalwood, and patchouli. And this is a gourmand forward fragrance, and it almost smells like Coca-Cola or Pepsi or Dr. Pepper. It gives off that vibe. And I do smell the ginger as the top note, but when this dries down, it is like the creamiest vanilla with like a little bit of the cardamom still hanging on. It's just so lovely. I've been spraying it under a lot of other fragrances. I wouldn't say this is the most long-lasting fragrance, but I do like that it is a biphase fragrance and I feel more comfortable spraying it directly on skin. This completely caught me by surprise. I love this. It has a stand that you can also buy to put it on. So it's like a gold stand that you can buy and it kind of just like holds it up. I didn't think it's worth like the $30 or $35 that it's listed as, so I'm fine with just having the bottle kind of lay down. All right, moving on to the heavy hitters. These ones are my niche fragrances. All right, starting off, Mind Games Prodigy. I am obsessed with this fragrance. It was actually between this one and Blanche Bette that I was gonna potentially wear on my wedding day. I went with Blanche Bette, but this was second up. So this should tell you how much I love this fragrance. So this has rose, bergamot, and cardamom in the top. Middle notes are langoza and patchouli. Base notes, blonde woods, vanilla, and sandalwood. I think this is a really safe patchouli fragrance for people who don't generally love patchouli, because I'm not a patchouli lover. It's just kind of in the background to kind of give a little edge to the rose, I would say. This is a beautiful, beautiful fragrance. It is also a really unique fragrance, in my opinion. I also have Mentor and Opera Mate by Mind Games. Mentor, I might declutter my bottle because I can only wear it when it's like extremely, extremely cold. I think that's the only time I really, really like wearing that fragrance. And I don't know if it's a good enough reason to keep the whole bottle. I might just order like a 10 ml of it and sell the bottle, because there's no way I'm going to go through the whole bottle of Mentor. But Prodigy, I love wearing it this time of year. It kind of has a holiday feel to it in my mind. It's a very cozy, like cardamom fragrance. So Maison, Crivelli, Hibiscus, Mahajad. I actually just got this in the mail 2 days ago, I think. And funny story is I didn't like this fragrance the first time I smelled it. Well, to be fair, I didn't dislike it. I just was kind of like, about it. I was looking through my samples a couple weeks ago and I sprayed it and I was like, whoa, that smells really good. And then I kept using the sample and I was just like blown away by it. So it is interesting how sometimes you can not really like a fragrance and then really love a fragrance, or vice versa. But this was the case for me. I bought this on the Parfums.com through my shop app, and they have really good deals on a bunch of niche fragrances. So that might be one of my go-to new places for really expensive niche fragrances, because I got this at an insane deal. It is completely legit. Ooh, intoxicating. I got 2 compliments when I wore it to a hockey game yesterday. So another one that's like my pride and joy is Amouage Guidance. This is the original. I'm down to here on this one, and I've already gone through a 10 ml of it. So I've worn this quite a bit, and I've always gotten so many compliments on it. Between the original and the X-Straight, this is my second 10 ml of the X-Straight. I absolutely love them both. I know some people like the Guidance 46 more than the original, and some people like the original more than the 46. I do think the original lasts a lot longer. The 46 might be a little sweeter, but I don't think the longevity on this one is quite as good. So what I do sometimes is I just spray this one and I top it off with the 46 to get a little bit of that sweetness through. These are both amazing. I might just bite the bullet and get the bottle. If you like the fragrance but not enough, I would just pick one. They do have overlapping notes like the pear, the hazelnut, the akigala wood. The 46 does list a lot more notes on Fragrantica, but just because it lists more doesn't mean it contains more. The pear and the akigala wood is really what I think makes both of them stand out. Another one I got through the shop app through Ivy Scents. I love Ivy Scents. I've gotten quite a few bottles with them. So just so you guys know about how serious I am about not buying full bottles, I have so many of these 10 mils because I'm just trying not to get crazy around buying a bunch of bottles. So I have all these 10 mils and I've gone through a lot of 10 mils. So that is more of my test nowadays before I buy a full bottle, is if I can go through a 10 mil. I don't know if this happens to anyone else, but for me, 10 mils is really like that sweet spot to know whether or not I'm going to continue to wear a fragrance. Because sometimes I will buy a fragrance, be absolutely madly in love with it, go through the first 10 mils, and then I kind of get bored of the fragrance, or I just don't gravitate it towards anymore. So I love buying these 10 mils because honestly, sometimes I won't even go through the 10 mils in a year. So it's a lot better than buying a whole bottle and then being stuck with a bunch of bottles, having to declutter them and all that stuff. So I like buying the 10 mils. But going back to the Rosendo Mateu number 5, it doesn't have tea in it, but it smells like a tea fragrance to me. It's top notes of spices, exotic floral notes, middle notes of carnation, lily of the valley, and base notes of amber, vanilla, and musk. I've worn this like 2 or 3 times and I've gotten compliments twice. Lovely fragrance. It does project quite a lot, and I got about 7 to 8 hours of wear on this one, and it's such a good fragrance. This is easily one that the cold air just makes this fragrance so intoxicating. I think if it were spring or summer, it would be a little offensive, but I love wearing this during the cold seasons. Last but not least, we have Beau by Liis, and this is another 10 mil. And as you can see, I've worked quite my way through it. I got this one on Scent Split, and when I received the sample for this one, oh my god, I was so in love with it. I think unfortunately I was the only person that was in love with it, because when my mom came over, I made her smell it. She hated it. My husband was not a fan. My dad was not a fan, but I keep wearing it. It has top notes of elemi resin, tobacco, middle notes of Chiara incense, sequoia, and base notes of cedar, gaiac wood, and vanilla. Now, I think if you're new to niche fragrances, it might be a little intimidating to smell this. I don't think I would have liked this fragrance 3 years ago. I might have liked the smell of it, like on its own, but not to wear it myself. I do think my husband's growing to like it though, which is nice because I think he was a little off put by the tobacco in it. But I gave him my 10 mil of the Casablanca House of Beau fragrance that I had because it just doesn't really work on me. I think it's too masculine for myself. I love the way it smells, but it's way too masculine. And he loved the fragrance. And then he was like, oh, this kind of smells smoky, like tobacco. And it's like, yeah, but it's good. And so he's kind of starting to grow on it. So I do think it is one of those notes that people kind of have to grow to like. But for me, it was love at first sniff, completely unisex. It is like the sexiest tobacco fragrance in my opinion. So that wraps up my fall and winter fragrances. Let me know if you guys have any of these and if you'll be wearing it this fall and winter, or if you have any new ones that I haven't mentioned that I just have to get my nose on. But thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to press the like and subscribe button. I don't know where they are. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.